and all, and welcome to another episode of Baggers Chat. My name is Mitch Pattinson, and as always, we're joined by Ethan Daffy, and tonight we are previewing Port Adelaide versus Carlton at the Adelaide Oval, round 12. Can't believe it's round 12. It's almost halfway. It's pretty much right now. We're at the halfway point at the of the season. Thursday, 30th of May at 7:30 p.m. And as I just said, at the Adelaide Oval. But first things first, Daffy boy, how are you?
I'm good, mates. It's a quick turnaround, bloody quick turnaround. You can't even enjoy the win. Obviously, you enjoy the win, but in a player's kind of perspective, I feel like you got to move pretty quick from game to game most weeks. But this is even shorter. So I feel like we haven't played a team outside the top 8 for about 4 years. So the way our draw is ridiculous. I'm not having a go at the draw, and we came third last year, so you expect that, but just feels like we've had a bit of a roller coaster of a draw this first part of the season. Maybe apart from North and, even the Richmond game was close. They were more at full strength at the time, of course.
Mm.
Yeah, it just feels like every week we just get, it's just like that. Apart from the Gold Coast game of the weekend, I think that was always going to be an easy win. I know people are talking them up, but they haven't proved it. Still haven't proved it outside of Gold Coast and or Darwin in a sense. So yeah, big game, Adelaide Oval. It's one of those grounds for us.
Mm.
I don't think it really matters anymore about grounds. There's always a hoodoo and bloody blah blah, but we've got to be able to get the job done. I don't think there's much different from Adelaide Oval to Marvel to MCG. Just get the job done.
Yeah. I wonder when the last time we actually beat an Adelaide team at the Adelaide Oval. I don't think we've beaten a team at the Adelaide Oval yet, have we?
No, ever. No.
Yeah, so ever. And then what was it beforehand?
Amy Stadium.
Amy Stadium.
Yep.
God, I reckon the last one we actually beat an Adelaide
That's the
team
last game there ever.
2013. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
too.
that was their last game they played there. Yep.
Yeah, when Mark Murphy played Little East kid, there was a kid. I think that was the call from I think it was Dwayne.
No, Bryce Gibbs, Little League as a kid.
Oh no, Mark
He's
Murphy
South
kicked the
Australian.
first goal. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
God, yeah, he's from South Australia. Mark Murphy's from Victoria. What am I talking about? Yeah, because I think Mark Murphy had a good goal then as well.
Yeah.
A bit of a throwback there, Deaf Boy. Who knows? That might be our throwback for Thursday for this week. But let's now swing straight into the injury list, Deaf Boy, and coming out of last week's game, and also the VFL, there was no injuries, which is quite unusual for the Carlton Football Club. Usually we have to deal with some sort of injury coming out of the VFL or AFL, but this week we do not have any injuries, but we also don't have any players expected to come back from injury either. So Adam Chera and David Cunningham are the two players that could be in consideration within the next 2 weeks, 1 to 2 weeks. Chera and Cunningham are both away, are away from any football level. So as I just said, I don't think there's any expected players to come back this week. But another player that got through the VFL was Jesse Motlop, who, of course, didn't play senior football last week, but as just said, played VFL on the weekend, and he also may be considered for selection. But let's now swing straight into the ins and outs, mate. Make sure to touch on your the injury list in terms of Chera and Cunningham, how important they are to our structure. Also, Jesse Motlop getting through the VFL, and if that's a talking point for the ins and outs. And to swing straight into the ins and outs, do you have any ins and outs?
Yeah, it's we had a couple of players back last week with Sardi and Fogg coming in. I thought they were very important ins. Good to get a game under their belt heading into this one too. You want them fit and firing to go this weekend. In terms of Ches and Cunners, Chera's frustrating, and Cunningham's probably even more frustrating the way his kind of career is played out at the moment. He's probably on the on the borderline of on his way and packing his bags and playing VFL footy next year. But I'm not really. I think the team we've got currently is fine. Obviously, you'd love Chera in the side, but I don't want to be rushing guys in. To be honest, I want Chera hitting his straps round 16 and 24. That last 8-week block before finals. Cunningham, he won't come straight back in. No chance he comes straight back. I want 2-3 weeks out of him in the twos.
Yep.
And yeah, And onto the ins and outs. We touched on it before the recording. We've haven't got any. And in terms of ins and outs, I think the week before how we dropped Cowan, it was a big mistake.
Mm,
Because Cowan was phenomenal on the weekend. And there's something about him. It's a ace up the sleeve. I know I like to say this, but good teams bring in different players every year. Just a couple players change the team. And on the weekend it changed with Chincotta in the middle, Elijah Hollands in the middle. We weren't predictable, and I feel like most of this season we have been, especially with the midfield mix of, probably Cripps, Kennedy, and Hewitt.
yeah.
It's very predictable. And we had that mix in the last 10 minutes of this Gold Coast game, and Gold Coast kicked a couple goals.
Yeah.
So it's I think, I don't have any ins and outs, but I think in terms of selection for the next, month or so, I think it's just not being predictable. You know what I mean? Not picking, a random player out of the blue. That's not what I mean, but it's about how we want to play and don't be the same lineup every week. And Lockie Cowan, when he came in before he got dropped, he was fantastic. Everyone's going, oh, he doesn't have 20 touches. He's not that guy.
Mm.
Not that guy on the weekend. He had 20 at 95%. And his endeavour on the footy is second to none. And I think that's what we need in our backline, to be honest with you. With Sard back there now, especially, it frees up Chincotta to play any role he wants.
Yeah.
So, and based off the press conference, Vossi's up and about Chincotta's role and what he does for the team. And also, and I'm touching on a few players here, but even Pitto, we got, TDK is the main ruck, but it's a 24-26 game season. Pitto's going to have a part to play for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Because TDK is not going to be able to run out the whole season. And it was similar with Gawn and Grundy last year with the Demons. There's a few games that Max was injured and Grundy came in. You know what I mean? So you don't want to be tiring out your prized assets in TDK.
I think you touch on there a few really good points, and there were a few things that I wanted to try and touch on them, but I think you brought up a lot of really good points. So the one question out of that was, you go straight away to like Mark Pitnet. Like, of course, he obviously will play a big part this year, and as you said, I don't think TDK will be that sole ruckman for the rest of the year. I think I would love to see him eventually be that sole ruckman, but I just don't think it's smart to play TDK every single week. And then also, I don't know if maybe you play Pitto as a ruckman alongside TDK for some games when the opposition do have ruckman in the lineup. Maybe that's an option that we might go with. But the one question that I was going to ask you about now, Caleb Marchbank. So he was managed last week. And by memory, was he featured in the VFL?
No, he didn't play.
So he didn't play any level last week. So now you just shook your head, obviously. So I think I know the answer to this question. But in Port Adelaide's forward line, you've got George Yardies down there. You've got Todd Marshall, who's in pretty good form. Not too sure what's going on with Charlie Dixon. Not too sure if he's injured or if he's just simply not playing in the senior side, which I would be surprised about if he's not. I would assume that he's injured, but that's something that we can check on in a few minutes' time. But out of those, like in that forward line, is there any worries in terms of maybe we bring in Marchbank to cover the Marshall, or even like a Jeremy Finlayson who also has returned down there? So now that there is 3 keys down there, is that a move that you might play this week?
I don't know. I'm not. I thought about it today. A few players in his team, and one of them was Marchbank. I think he's good enough, but is he? Is he? Like, I think that back six on the weekend was right.
Yeah.
I think it was a right mix of both ball users, defenders, keys. I think it was good enough. And I know, there's a lot of keys in his team, and Vossi does like Marchbank a lot. You can tell with the way he selects him. He might miss 9 months of footy, and then all of a sudden he's in the team. I think give him a couple of weeks in the twos. Just dominating the twos. I know he was in the twos a few weeks ago, but I just don't know if, bringing in a guy who's going to be managed a few times in a season, will that disrupt the continuity of the backline and the whole team? I think it does, because he played that Sydney game.
Yeah.
And, defensively, I'm not blaming him, but it's more about as a back six, you want to, be the same blokes most weeks, pending injuries. You want to be keeping that continuity. And we haven't had that all year. And on the weekend, we did have that. And I think, yeah, I don't think he comes in for mine. They've got a lot of kind of B grade, C plus grade key forwards, in my opinion. Charlie Dixon will come in, I think. He was managed last week, and it was North. So I imagine he'd probably come in for this game if they're being serious. But yeah, Port Adelaide, I don't know, Patto. I don't know if it's the same with you, but I can never get a real answer on them. You know what I mean? I just don't know.
Yeah, no, well, I completely agree. I think Dixon's probably the one player that's really shown something in his AFL career. And Tom Marshall's still young. Georgiades is still young as well. There was a bit of talk about him returning maybe to Western Australia, but Jeremy Finlayson, are we really realistic about him? Like, I don't think he's anywhere near even speaking about being in that best 22, because you speak there about Charlie Dixon, and he was obviously managed last week, and maybe you bring him in, and I would assume that Finlayson makes way because Charlie Dixon will play that second ruck. But so you might not agree with that one. Do you expect Charlie Dixon to come in, and if so, do you see one of the key forwards coming out?
Yeah, I think Jordan Sweet comes out. It
Who's
seems
their ruck then?
because he came in. Oh, I guess no, they got Vicentini. I know he got dropped. So yeah,
Yeah,
true,
yeah.
true.
Anyone? It's something that we don't have to worry about,
I
so
think
that's great.
Mason's one of those players, though. I think you got to play him. He's that type of bloke that'll pull up and kick 4 goals. But um, yeah, Georgiades isn't hitting his straps too well, is he? Really?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
like he's a nice player, but this year he hasn't really. I'm not trying to be mean.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I don't even know how they're second, to be honest. Not sure.
yeah.
Well, but that's what I mean when we're talking about this team, Pato. We're not being cocky here. Oh, they're a good team. They're top 4 quality at their best.
Mm,
But to me, there's just something about it. If we were playing them here, I'd have no doubt in my mind would beat them. If it was at Marvel, no doubt in my mind.
yeah.
But Adelaide Oval that's the one thing that's lurking in the back of my head.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Can't believe they're third. So I mean, obviously Essendon have come over the top, so they are second on the ladder. Essendon, and of course we play against Essendon the week after next week. So yeah, so Port Adelaide third on the ladder, Essendon second on the ladder, which is unbelievable. And obviously Sydney top of the table ladder leaders. So yeah, now another question about the sub. Do you expect Jack Carroll to be the sub again this week?
I think so. They usually run pretty deep, Port, in terms of their midfield. A lot of guys can run through there. So, um, yeah, I think so. It could be a bins maybe as well.
Mm,
I don't know if we need that outside run covered because Akers and Ollie Hollands have been phenomenal the last month.
yeah,
And Ollie Hollands is a one he's like the videos I saw today on Carlton socials highlighting his run. There was this one where I think third quarter, and it was he was chasing and chasing from the forward 50 to D50 and lands a tackle that puts off a shot. Like little things like that, people don't see that. They might see one drop mark he does, or one time he gets done on the ball.
yeah.
But he's like it's same as Akers. They've done it all year.
Mm.
They put themselves in the right position. And what happens? Akers kicks a goal up forward on the weekend. It might have been a bit of luck. It might have came off his forehead and he took the mark out, came off his head or whatever. But people go, oh, that's lucky. No, it's not. He's in that spot. And then a minute later, he's deep in defence. They
Yeah.
work both ways and they're perfect. But we had this conversation 2 years ago with his team. We didn't have wingers. And it's so important in terms of wingers. But yeah, they run pretty deep, Port.
Yeah, because even when we were when I was working on the game last for the Carlton game, even the
Yeah.
commentary mentioned how Blake Acres always finds a way to get into these positions on the field, and it's not luck, it's structure. It's you have Ollie Hollands as a defensive winger, and you have Blake Acres as that offensive winger, and they switch throughout the game as well. So Ollie Hollands is sometimes in that attacking position. So next week the exact same play might happen, and that might be Ollie Hollands in that position, and which I completely agree. And it's another conversation where does Matt Cottrell fit in this side now? Because we're at like those two wingers, I think they've been really good. And I think Cottrell in there kind of limits Ollie Holland's impact. So it's a conversation where maybe you play the three wingers, because I know that Vossi loves playing the three wingers, but we haven't really had another option to play the three wingers. I mean, we had the chance to maybe bring in Jackson Binns, but I mean, Vossi obviously isn't going to go ahead with that. So Carlton need to try and work out whether it's the two wingers that they're trying to go for. And right now it's working. Blake Acres and Ollie Horn, and they're elite runners. So they keep running. And it's not the tide factor, like that's not a factor. It's more down to if the structure suits. And I would rather a genuine half forward like Elijah Hollands in there, who can also run through the wing and the wing position, but also through the middle as well. But yeah, I think right now the two wingers suits us right now. But moving forward, it's always great to have a guy like Matt Cottrell, who obviously is injured right now, and he'll be assessed for any type of football after the bye. But that's another conversation where Matt Cottrell fits in this side. But yeah, so my sub, I'm going with Jesse Motlop.
Okay.
So obviously my ins and outs, as you mentioned, I don't have any changes. But yeah, I think I'm just going to go with Jesse Motlop, Jack Carroll out. I do like the depth in the midfield in terms of, especially Port Adelaide, they have a lot of midfielders there. They have Zach Butters, Connor Rosie, who might be in doubt this week, might not be playing. So that might be another aspect as to why you maybe play Jesse Motlop as that small forward, because right now we only have Matt Oies as that small forward, Orazio Fantasia, who I think will definitely play this week. A bit funny how last week we were previewing the game and we were saying how Corey Dern and Orazio Fantasia should not play this week. But obviously Orazio played a bit of a different role as well with what I saw on the weekend. So I don't know if maybe you play Jesse Motlop as that sub and maybe bring him on half through that third quarter as that small forward. But Dave Boy, let's now move on to the opposition watch. So for the viewers who don't know what this is, we touch on the backline, midfield, and forward line for the Port Adelaide Power. And we touch on one player for each line, and we kind of explain as to why they're kind of a threat come this Thursday night. But we don't know which players we are going to pick. So, I mean, like obviously Daffy Boy has his three. I have my three, and we're going to touch on the three players right now. So, Daffy Boy, your backline opposition watch for the Port Adelaide Power. Who have you got?
Their defense as a whole, just before I touch on one individual, they are a very, very sketchy key backline. Like you got, like, just quickly to name Radigalia, Zerk, Thatcher, Leah. I listened to a commentator the other day. I don't know who said it, but they all fly for the same ball a lot of the time, and they're always trying to be the number one guy. And that's just my take on Port Adelaide at the moment in those three as key defenders. But the guy I'm focusing on is a bit of a kind of under the radar type player. If you watch a lot of football, you'll know him. But it's Kane Farrell.
Yes.
He's a very, very good footballer. Very, very, very good footballer. He's probably one of the best kicks in the league, probably just behind Jordan Boyd. So he's phenomenal. Seriously. He's just if you kids at home, if you want to learn how to kick a football, you watch guys like him, because it's just pure just ball skills, foot skills in a sense. So he's one to watch out for. I know last week I had Sam Flanders, so he came out late. So hopefully Kane just puts the feet up and watches the game on Thursday night.
Well, I really like that option. It's actually a player that I was about to go with, but I think this other player that I have is a bit more of a threat down there. But yeah, I love how they've used Kane Farrell as a rebounder halfback, because he first started playing when he in his career as a half forward, and you realise straight away about how he had a long kick, like a long boot on him, but also he laces out every single time. And it reminds me of a bit of like a Carl Amon in Hawthorn, how he's transitioned back, and how a lot of, like we spoke about it last week about the Giants and the Cats, and obviously the Gold Coast Suns, about how they kind of had that one player who brings the footy outside of their defensive 50. But I think Kane Farrell is one of those guys. Like you touch on the Giants, how they use it with Whitfield. You touch on obviously with Geelong, how they use it with Max Holmes, or even a Tom Stewart to a stretch. We touched on Sam Flanders earlier about the Suns. But yeah, I think this week Kane Farrell is a big threat. But I'm going with another player, and it's Aaliyah.
Yeah.
So I think when I look at that back line, I think he's probably obviously the one guy down there that that is quite threatening to me. I just think he's so dominant in that back line where if he plays to his strengths, I think he is a threat, but it's trying to minimize his strengths and try and work into his weaknesses, which I think is making sure that he locks down on an opponent. He wants to be an intercept defender, but if you've got Harry Mackay down there and Charlie Curnow down there, make sure that he is locking down on these players. Because as you said, I completely agree. Radaglia and Zerk Thatcher as well. They're the two players that are known as the lockdown key defenders, but they pretty much play the Alia role.
Yeah,
they want to fly for the footy, but they probably shouldn't be. So I completely agree, and I think we're good enough. Now, a question with Alia. Do we potentially tag Alia this week?
No. I think Charlie's had the better of him. He had the better of him last year. He's a good footballer, Alia, but I think your point is spot on, and I was actually going to touch on it. He's a very like Jake Lever type defender. You've got to just make him accountable.
Yeah.
Got to make him accountable where I think TDK, Lever was on TDK in the Melbourne game a few weeks ago.
Yes.
There were certain leads and certain leading patterns where he was on the ground, forcing him out of that section. Force him out. I want Radaglia being the main guy down there trying to take on Harry or Charlie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He goes all right, Radaglia. I think he cops a little bit too much hate for my liking. I think every club would take him. For sure. Like you saw, we'd bloody take him, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Because I think he was in a team that was so good at Geelong that he stood out in a sense if he made a mistake or whatever. But yeah, it's just about dragging Alia out. Not too far out. It can be a little 5-meter dart lead. It might be Charlie on him. Just drag him out a little bit. Just a little bit. So when he does try to intercept, he's too far from the contest. So, I think you're completely spot on.
Yeah, so I think with Port Adelaide, they obviously would want Alia to be that guy in the back line where he is the interceptor. So how do you think Carlton can try and take him outside of that forward 50?
I think it's the way we enter the ball inside 50. And I think it was a showcase in the first half. Our ball use inside 50 was just not lowering the eyes enough. Kicking it to the advantage of Mac Andrew, who I thought, I'm still in disbelief of why they took him off Charlie. He was actually giving him a bath.
Dominating.
Start. If he stayed on him, I'd hate to know what would happen. Like Charlie's a champion, but the way that game was going, I don't know why they changed it. Just put anyone else in the ruck. Put bloody Ben King in there. Put bloody Nick Holman in the ruck. Who cares? Like Andrew was, but yeah, it's just, I don't know how we're going to do it, but it's our ball use. It's got to be quick. It's got to be fast and change angles. We're just going straight down the line, straight. Predictable for those guys. It's more about get it to the wing and a little bit of a change of angle. I don't mean switch it. I mean just a little bit of 45. You know what I mean? And that works for us, doesn't it? When it's that change of angle, and it's so unpredictable and hard for guys like Alia and even Radaglia to pick where it's going. You know what I mean? So that's the way I think we can minimise them.
Yeah, no. Well, I think that's a good outline overall for the back line. So let's now move on to the midfield clash, Daffy Boy for the opposition for the Port Adelaide power. But I mean, once again, we've got to touch on it right now, and it's Connor Rosie who might be missing this week. He, with what I'm hearing, is in big doubt. And once again, if he does get up for the game and he doesn't manage to get past the first quarter, second quarter, as a few weeks ago, I think it was the showdown against the Crows when you pretty much forced him to play and he obviously wasn't match ready. That's another conversation as to if he does get up, that might be a question mark come Thursday night. But Daffy Boy, your opposition watch for the midfield, who have you got?
Yeah, there's that would be a big out. Rosie, he's a very, very handy footballer. Like I said, they've got a lot of guys who can go through there. I'll just name some. You got Travis Boak. I know he's an old fella, but he goes in there sometimes. You got Wines. You got, I think Mead goes in there a fair bit.
Yeah, Mead's been good.
So you got obviously Rosie, Horn Francis, Bergman, who I think is an absolute star. Absolute star. He's probably top 3 players and my favourite players at Port Adelaide. I'm not a Port Adelaide fan, but I love the way he goes about it. And then, Butters and Willem Drew as well. So there's a lot of guys, and Farrell and Houston. And I've seen Burton in there as well, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, Burden.
So
Yeah.
a lot of guys, a lot of half forwards and half backs that can go in there, which is handy for Ken Hinkley if they can kind of roll the dice at certain stages or it's a certain mix isn't working. The one guy I look at, and he kind of got into his old team on the weekend, and it's Jason Horne-Francis. I just like him. I like the way he goes about it. I know he cops a bit of fair share of hate because he left or whatever. He left an absolute shambolic football club. He left an absolute shambolic football club. They put him in there in his shit environment. This is before Clarko was even there. So,
Yeah.
everyone goes, oh, he's not loyal, blah, blah, blah. But it's a different situation. It's a
Exactly.
rebuild. The way North are doing it is very, very weird. But yeah, Horne-Francis got the long socks. He's like he's playing in the 2000s and the 90s. He plays like an old style footballer, a little Michael Voss, a little bit of, that type of midfield dominance. And yeah, he's one to look out for because he hits the scoreboard too. And that's going to be a watch for, do we put a Chincotta on him? Do we put, Chincotta on someone else maybe? I know Willem Drew often tags, so he'll have to tag Walsh or Cripps probably in this game. So it might be a bit of, we tag whoever, they tag whatever, and we'll see how that works during the game because, I don't want to be seeing George Hewitt probably take Horne-Francis. I probably want Chincotta taking him.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah, mention there about Willem Drew. Do you expect him to tag this week?
I think he has to. I think it'll have to be Cripps. I think talking about Cripps, he's actually like the last few years before this, he was amongst the best midfielders, right? Talked about. He's
Dominating.
not even talked about this year.
He's dominating.
He's I don't know how a Brownlow medalist is underrated and the captain of the club. It actually baffles me. It baffles me because he has been phenomenal, and we've been saying his pace this year and his agility. He's worked on that big time, and coming off the Willem Drew chat. But yeah, Cripps has had a great year, and he'll have to tag him. His impact was massive on the weekend. I think he had 13 clearances, and Drew is that type of midfielder that can probably go head to head with him.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said that because Cripps over his career has always been a 25 to 30 disposal getter, but this year he's extended to 30 to 35. Like last week, he got, I think it was 31 on the weekend, but I think even against the D's, he got 35 touches. Like,
Yeah.
he's been getting a lot more of the footy, but overall, like he's fit. He's fit this year. Like he's probably the fittest he's been in his AFL career. And isn't it funny in 2021 when we were speaking about it, be like, God, I don't reckon this guy will make it past maybe 3 or 4 years. I mean, the media was saying that, not us, not us as Carlton supporters, but once again, the media, I don't really know if that's they sometimes don't have any idea AFL football, which baffles me that they get paid that they get paid to have an opinion, and that's why I think this. I guess the whole fan channels, who kind of watch a lot more of their side and kind of know. I mean, not know. I don't think we're saying that we know a lot more, but we kind of watch a lot more. And I think I mean, I'm not saying our opinions, but I think opinions of fan bases and their supporters have a lot more. I guess realistic opinions more than the media does, but that's a bit of a slap to the media. So sorry about that. But I'm now going to move on to the midfield, to my midfield opposition watch, and it's Ollie Wines, Daffy boy. So it seems to be back. He seems to be back to his best this year. He's also a fellow Brownlow medalist, and I just think he's still underrated. In that Port midfield end, I think like it's behind a Zach Butters and a Connor Rosie, and I mean, as we mentioned, I don't think he is going to feature on Thursday night. And Horne-Francis as well is another player that you've mentioned, and obviously that was your opposition watch. And Willem Drew, there's a lot of midfielders in there that can swing through there you've mentioned. And yeah, I think Ollie Wines he's been really consistent in it, and you need to have a look at his contested work because I think Adelaide Oval suits a contested beast, and obviously we have a contested beast in Paddy Cripps, but I think their contested beast that they rely on week in, week out is Ollie Wines. So I think that's a player that we have to look out for come Thursday night, Daffy boy. But let's now move on to the forward line opposition watch. So we've already touched on a few names with we don't really rate the key forwards down there. Yeah, I hope that doesn't come back to bite me in the bum. And Tom Marshall kicks 15 this week against us on Thursday. But definitely your forward line opposition watch for the Power. Who have you got?
I love the intro to the forward line. Just trying to not trying to make sure we don't get bit in the ass. But no, I think they're good. I think they're good. I'm not saying they're bad. It's just I just don't know if they don't have the guy. There's no the guy, which is sometimes works in your favour in terms of unpredictability. There's one guy I'm going to name, and I just got a feeling he's going to kick 3 whether we lose or win on the weekend, and it's Willie Rioli. He just frustrates me because he went to the Cattery and kicked 4 or 5 a few weeks ago, and then against the Hawks he was missing until the last goal of the game. But if you just let those guys off the leash, they're gonna make you pay. You know what I mean? If they get one sneaky goal from the boundary, crowd gets up and about, you're gonna have to lock down him. But we've got the paddle down there to take him. You got Cowan, you got Boyd, you got Sard, you got Chincotta if he plays down there. You got plenty of options down there to be able to cover Willie Rioli. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of think outside the box because I know these players hurt us in the past. So hopefully we're past that. But my focus is on the little fella up forward.
Yeah, well, I think in terms of the whole forward line for Port, I don't think that's outside the box at all. I think he's probably the player down there that is the biggest threat because he is that small forward, and obviously his last name scares a lot of us as AFL supporters. But yeah, I had a feeling you may have gone with Rioli. Now I'm going with another name, and it's Todd Marshall. So. He kicked 5 goals on the weekend, and I know that that's against a VFL side, so I don't think that's really. I don't think you really would expect anything less than that before. I'm having a few slaps, and I
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah,
You're not wrong.
I'm a little bit tired. Like your Monday is just like you just kind of just like it's the start of the week. I'm in a little bit of bad mood. I will admit it. But yeah, I'm just giving a little bit of a slap to the Kaggers. But yeah, I think Tom Marshall this week is a bit of a threat. As I said, he's come off 5 goals, and I just still think he's one of the threats down there. I don't think there's a lot. There's enough attention going to Tom Marshall. I still think when he gets his body right, and when he actually gets out on the park, he's still. Wouldn't say one of the best key forwards in the competition, but if he gets his body right and he gets his consistency up, I think he can be. I think he has a potential to be that man down there, as you touched on. Like they don't have that man down there. I think Tom Marshall could be the guy, but as you've mentioned, I think it's a player that you really need to look out for in terms of Willie Rioli's down there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players down there that could come out and kick 3 goals and you wouldn't be surprised. But with Carlton, with what we have, like we have Harry Mackay and Charlie Curnow, who would most likely kick most of our goals. And sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't help you.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we played against a side a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember who. I think it was Geelong. That I kind of thought about this as well, where they do have a lot of goal kickers down there. I mean, they've obviously got Cameron and Hawkins, but their small forwards kind of get around it as well. And I just think that's something that we're trying to build towards. Like, I mean, obviously you want to try and build that forward line around Charlie Curnow and Harry Mackay, but have other assets like Jack Martin if he can get out on the bloody park. But he's also who I think has been really solid as well, and he's found his way to get his 1 or 2 goals every week. So that's it for the opposition watch, Staff Boy, and now it is time for the highly anticipated, highly reliable, especially from my point of view. Especially from my point of view, Taffy Boy. If you watch back on the episodes, I don't reckon I've gotten any match predictions right for the whole year. So match predictions, Taffy Boy. So for the viewers who don't know what this is, we go through the bag of the game, which we think will be the most highly impacted player come Thursday night. A point of difference, which obviously, as it says there, it's a guy that can take the game away from Port Adelaide from our point of view, Carlton point of view, and winner plus margin, which obviously is self-explanatory, who we think and will win and by how much. And I have a pretty good idea of who we're both going to tip this week. But Dave, match predictions, who have you got?
Yeah, it's quick turnaround. It's really caught me off guard a little bit this week.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it doesn't catch these players off guard. I think they'll be prepared for the challenge, but which should be a cracker. Oh, I think this is really a massive game in our season. Just before I get on my prediction, I think this is going to be a massive game for our season. Get this, and then head and play the Scum next weekend on Sunday. Knock them off before the bye, then head into Geelong, and then an easier fixture. Seriously, you got to set up that base before you get into the easier games.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I'm not even counting us out to finish in the top 2 yet. I'm not. I'm really not. Essendon, Port Adelaide, if you can beat these teams, it works wonders for you. And it worked wonders for us last year, beating some of those top teams at the back end of last year. My bagger of the game, I'm going to say Elijah Hollins.
Like it.
He's just nice with it. That's all I'm going to say. If he's best on ground, I'll lock it in. I'll do a post, and the caption is Elijah is nice with it. All right, so just lock that in. But yeah, he's just a good footballer. He's just a really, really good footballer, and I think he has the standards as his brother, like similar standards and training standards as his brother. They're very hard workers. So that's how they actually got into the AFL and the whole pathway in the first place. They've got that different mindset and mentality with their footy compared to they separate themselves from the people who obviously didn't make AFL. Point of difference. It's a juggle. It's a juggle. I've got a few juggling balls here, and I'm just gonna I've caught one. Jordan Boyd.
Hey.
I did a little bit of an appreciation post today on the socials of Boydie's stats. He's rated the best kick in the competition. Another underrated player, and I love to see it. And the best part about him is he's not just a ball user. He can defend.
Yes.
I think he could be the point of difference in terms of Riolis and those little Jed McEntees and whoever goes in there when Butters is down there. Those types of guys, when they defense first mentality, but also hurt him the other way. And that's what I love about Boydie as well. Winner plus margin. This is probably the best part of the entire prediction. When we both say our winner plus margin, it's going to be the Blues, and it's going to be in a comfortable fashion. We're going to go out to a massive lead early. I think it's going to be a hot start early, and we don't even hold on. We just keep going. I've got a good feeling about this game. And I don't care if it bites me in the ass. I'm here to be confident because last week was a good performance.
Yeah, it was.
Good performance, and there were still areas to improve on, which is a good sign. Blues by 39 points at Adelaide Oval. I just don't think Port Adelaide are up to us. I'm not trying to bite us in the ass. I know it's their home ground, so that probably gets me a bit. Oh shit, maybe the tip is wrong, but why not let it fly, Patto? Because we're going to absolutely demolish this club.
I love it. I love it. I wish I had the balls to try and go to 39 points in Carlton's, but yeah, I like their whole match predictions, and I liked how you chose players that it's not the big names. It's not like and that's no disrespect to Jordan Boyd and Elijah Hollins, but you haven't gone with a Patrick Cripps or a Harry Mackay or a Charlie Curnow or a Sam Walsh in there or a Jacob Wettering down back. Yeah. Now, I will be honest, my match predictions is evolved around the star players, Daffy Boy. And my bagger of the game, I'm going with Paddy Cripps, man.
Yeah.
You just
got Brownlow.
Yeah, it's already locked in. Yep. I've already spoken to a few people, and I think Paddy Cripps couldn't even speak there. Very glad that you said earlier about how he's very underrated, and I completely agree. And I can't believe that he's still classified as underrated, and he's a Brownlow medalist. And he's the captain of the Carlton Football Club, one of the biggest clubs in the country, and he's classified as underrated. Absolutely baffles me. But yeah, so bagger of the game, Paddy Cripps, I'm expecting probably 33, 34 touches, but he will impact the scoreboard this week.
Yes.
He's been getting his 1 or his 0 goals, but this week he's going to really execute in front of goal, and I think he's going to kick 3 goals to 3 goals 1. I'll go 3 goals 1.
I was going to say 5 shots on goal. Does he come out the goal square?
3 goals 0. 3 goals 0. Goal straight. Yeah, now my point of difference, the only reason why I've gone with Harry Mackay as my point of difference is because he's that second ruck. I reckon every single time that he's been the second ruck or like obviously we've had a few games seeing him as that second ruck, but I reckon after maybe 2 or 3 times as that second ruck, he has been the point of difference. And once again, I think I know that it's quite an obvious answer and quite a consistent answer with bagger of the game, Paddy Cripps, and point of difference Harry Mackay, but I can't see any other outcome because the bagger of the game, if we win, Paddy Cripps has to dominate, and I think he's going to be the bagger of the game. And point of difference, if we are going to find a point of difference in that forward line, and especially impact that defensive 50 for Port with a Alira and all those guys down there, I think Harry Mackay is the point of difference. Now my winner plus margin, mine's a bit of a blowout as well. Not really a blowout.
Oh, really? Okay.
But 29 points.
Yeah, I've got the same feeling about this game. I feel like we built a good kind of level on the weekend of how we want to play. I think they know they're going to nail it, and they're mentally ready to face this game. I just have that feeling. I don't want it to. If it bites us in the ass, Patto, it bites us in the ass. Yeah. What are we going to do about it? Yeah. I've already been bit in the ass in 2022 when I said, enjoy your bloody September holidays, Collingwood. And then they knocked us out of the finals. And I had a mate who clipped it and sent it to me literally on the day. So pretty filthy with him. But yeah, no, I agree with your tip. It's just, I don't know, it's comfortable. I just feel like it's comfortable this week.
And you watch, you'll be a 41-point loss. And we will be throwing bloody head, fucking phone with all this shit at the TV, being like, we are so shit. But I completely now there's a bit of a feeling, and I feel like the feeling might actually might end come Thursday night when the Port Adelaide Football Club does beat us. But I mean, overall, I think we are confident in this side. We have found somewhat a bit of trust after the Suns last week. I know it's just the Gold Coast Suns at Marvel Stadium, and we didn't absolutely smash them. I think it was a closest contest until the third quarter and fourth quarter where we really blew them out. But now I think just what we need to focus on is trying to start well, which we have been the past few weeks.
Yeah.
We've been starting really well. Melbourne kicked the first 5 goals. We kept them scoreless in the first quarter. Sydney, by memory, we kicked the first 4 or 5 goals, and then obviously they came back in that first quarter. And last week we started well as well. So I think overall, I think we just have to start well, and we're a good chance to start well because it's been a consistent theme the past few weeks, and if not the whole year. Probably one game that I really can think of us not starting well is Brisbane in the opening round. So. So that's all the match predictions we have. Now, Daf Boy, is there anything else you would like to touch on before we wrap up the preview and head into the clash this week?
It's ridiculous. I'm just looking at the ladder now. It is ridiculous. We are 8th and 7 and 4. It shows you how tight it is, right? The Demons are 4th after their win on the weekend. They're 7 and 4.
Yep.
So there's 5 teams, equal. And if we beat Port on the weekend, it could make the ladder even closer.
Yes.
And if we beat Essendon the week after,
yes,
it could bring the ladder. But that's what I mean. These next 2 are huge. Because if we lose on the weekend, we're probably out of the 8.
Yeah,
I'd imagine. I got a feeling Gold Coast might knock off the Bombers in Gold Coast this weekend. But yeah, every game is important before this bye. Because if we head into the bye and we're kind of lurking around that 10 to 11, it's not warning signs, but it's just a little bit frustrating, and we have to kind of claw our way back. I want to be in a position to hit the top 4 hard, because I think if we can push into the top 4, we can win the premiership. And touching on the third forward type talk, we haven't really found it yet, and hopefully we find that output out of Zach Williams, because if he can put it on consistently, because we can't win the premiership if we're getting 60, 70% of our goals, 75% of our goals from Harry and Charlie. We're just not. Yeah. And like you said with Geelong, they find other ways, even though they do have the superstars as well. So we need more output out of the other guys.
Yeah. Completely spot on. Hit the nail on the head, Daffy Boy. So very, very good way to wrap it up. But yeah, so to every single blue bagger and sports generalization, sports supporter who in general started to really get a little bit flat at the moment, Daffy Boy, towards the end of the episode. As you can obviously tell, I'm a little bit tired tonight. So But to every single AFL supporter, but also sports supporter, if you do enjoy our content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, but also make sure to get around our podcast platforms as well. I know that we're on Spotify, Apple Music, I think Google Podcasts as well. It's another one that I saw the other day, Def Boy, that I didn't even know about. But so make sure to get around those. But also, as Ethan said throughout the episode, make sure to also get around the socials. He does very well in that aspect, so make sure to try and get around those. And to you, Daffy boy, and to every single blue bagger out there,
Come
the baggers.
on.